I remember it well. It feels like yesterday. We had followed this man. He was so charismatic. There was something about him. His words were always so powerful, and his points of view always unexpected. The Romans had mistreated us. We were struggling under the weight of this barbaric dictatorship that certainly did not have our interests at heart. Quite the opposite. For them, and frankly, for our religious leaders, we were insignificant. In this Jesus, we saw our way out. He proclaimed to be the Messiah. We surely hoped he would free us from the Roman tyranny. When Passover time arrived, Jesus came to Jerusalem, and there was palpable excitement. We welcomed him with the best we could, a joyful celebration.
Oh, the people. It wasn't very long after his triumphal entry, and everyone was already questioning if he was the Christ, the Messiah. Talk about short memory. He said it himself so many times. We all heard it. And if a title were nothing to be considered, how about his actions? Could a common prophet walk on water? Could a teacher rebuke demons? Could a Pharisee restore sight to the blind? How can they all ignore his godliness while still seeing his miracles? He was God incarnate, and his birth was the love gift God gave us.
Before Holy Week and before all of our lives were thrown into a whirlwind, Jesus, his disciples, and some other folks had an opportunity for a quiet time and enjoy sweet fellowship. While Jesus was there, Mary broke a jar of expensive perfume over his feet and wiped it with her hair. Judas objected and called Mary's gesture a waste. But in his self-serving greed, Judas couldn't see that Mary's gesture signified much more than a kindness to her master. It was a beautiful act of worship and surrender and gratitude for all that Jesus had done for her. And the inebriating scent of that fragrance enveloped us all. We couldn't escape the magic of that moment. Little did we know that that perfume was already a part of the Lord's burial rituals. We were sad when we heard that from the Lord himself.
Let me tell you about one moment of intimate fellowship with Christ. After Jesus spent Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday delivering his final teachings, he got together with the disciples on Thursday for supper, what would be their final one together. It was then that Jesus washed their feet. This time it was him on his knees, pouring water, not perfume, over their feet. I think that he was making sure they understood once and for all that he came to serve and not be served. It was important for Jesus to convey that message because it is at the heart of his mission and the example to be followed by all who love him. That night they shared a meal. Judas was exposed as a traitor, and Jesus said some really powerful words of comfort. And I honestly think that the reality of his impending death finally sank in the disciples' hearts.
Like in many other times, Jesus felt the need to pray. He certainly knew the horrors awaiting him the next day. His connection to the Father was about to be tested in a mighty way. We all fell asleep. What a bunch of weak men, physically and spiritually, at least in that moment. He came and woke us up, but we fell asleep again. While we succumbed to slumber, our friend, the Savior of the world, sweat drops of blood. I guess that's what carrying the weight of the sins of the world on your back will do to you. He never faltered, though. He was a man on a mission. And even if he asked his Father to let this cup pass away from him, he ultimately went down from that shadowy garden of Gethsemane and up Calvary Hill the next day.
In the garden, once at peace, here's the enemy for its feast. For our Savior they bring chains. Out of there he goes in pains. Judas, traitor, gives a kiss. Cudgel lips, what deep abyss. Whitewashed tombs in full array. Come arrest the Lord who prays. Very soon torture begins. Lashes, punches, and who grins? Evil men who think they win, rip in flesh the Savior's skin.
They beat him, they tortured him so badly, and put him to walk to his final destination. Those beautiful feet that once proclaimed the love of God now walk under the heavy weight of a cross, leaving behind in that dusty road a trail covered in blood and sweat. He was in excruciating pain. Watching that horror scene, we felt the pain of shame, of guilt, of inaction, and the pain of insignificance. We were all around, but in that path of real physical pain, Jesus was alone. It was not a cross he was carrying. It was the weight of all my failures. Yet he took step after step. In fact, he took all the necessary steps to make sure I wouldn't end up on that cross.
The world had never seen such a tragedy. The only sinless man to have ever lived, being castigated as if he had committed the worst crimes against humanity. Yet, he was raised to a cross of shame, to an inglorious throne. Standing at the foot of that cross, it was hard to look up. We were completely heartbroken. We knew he was the King of all, that had been given a crown of thorns. Yet, we wanted to crown him with praise. His love, though, beckoned us to behold him and receive the wondrous gift he was offering us with his sacrifice.
After Jesus was buried, we all felt empty. The Master and his teachings were gone, aside perhaps from the inner hope that he would come back as he promised. At that moment, we were in shock and in silence. The earth may have stood still when he died, but our minds were racing. What was going to be of the disciples and followers of the greatest man who ever lived, who, by the way, was the Son of God? But the God of the Son was in motion as well, and within 3 days he called his Son back to life. Just as Jesus had called the Lazarus he loved out of the grave, God calls his Son out of the grave. Arise, my love. The shouting and mocking of crucifixion day were replaced by the voices of angels announcing at the tomb, "He is not here, he is risen." What a sweet sound of victory.